You vote for something, it passes, and then it just doesn't happen. Not because a court struck it down, not because it was illegal, because the people you elected decided they'd rather it didn't. There's a name for this. It's called legislative alteration. And once you see how it works, you can't stop seeing it. Let me lay out the mechanics. About half the states, 24 of them, let citizens put laws directly on the ballot. You gather signatures, you get it on the ballot, people vote. This system was built over 100 years ago, during the Progressive Era, specifically because legislatures were seen as bought and paid for. The entire point was to give regular people a way around them. Here's the catch. In most of those states, once your law passes, the legislature can turn around and change it, water it down, repeal it outright. 11 states have no restrictions on this at all, none. Voters pass something, and lawmakers can amend it the next morning if they feel like it, and they do. One political scientist tracked it. Between 2010 and 2015, about 21% of successful ballot measures got altered by legislatures. By 2016 to 2018, that number was 36%. More than a third of the things people voted for got changed by the people they were voting around. So let's talk about how they actually do it, because it's rarely a dramatic repeal. It's quieter than that. Method 1, they just don't fund it. In 2020, Missouri voters passed Medicaid expansion. The governor said it wouldn't pay for itself and declined to move forward. It took a state Supreme Court ruling to force it. Same story in Maine a few years earlier. Voters approved expansion in 2017, and the sitting governor said he'd go to jail before implementing it. It didn't happen until he left office. The law passed. The money just never showed up. Method 2, they rewrite what it means. Florida, 2018, almost 65% of voters approved Amendment 4, restoring voting rights to people who'd completed felony sentences. An estimated 1.4 million people, one of the largest expansions of voting rights in modern American history. Then the legislature passed an implementing bill. It decided that completion of all terms of sentence also meant paying every fine, fee, and court cost first. Critics called it a modern-day poll tax. Today, roughly 730,000 Floridians who finish their sentences still can't vote. Not because of the crime, but because they still owe money. The amendment passed exactly as written. The legislature just decided what the words meant. Method 3, they watered down the numbers. Utah, 2018, voters expanded Medicaid to people earning up to 138% of the poverty line. The legislature came back and lowered it to 100%. Same program, fewer people covered. Quietly rewritten. Method 4, they divert the money. Ohio, 2023, voters legalized recreational marijuana, and the measure said tax revenue would fund programs for disadvantaged communities. The legislature let the legalization stand, but redirected that revenue toward jails and law enforcement instead. The thing you voted for is still technically there. The money just goes somewhere you never approved. Method 5, adopt it, then gut it. Michigan, 2018, 2 measures qualified, one to raise the minimum wage, one for paid sick leave. The legislature adopted them before the election, which kept them off the ballot. Then, after the election, it heavily amended both. The state Supreme Court later ruled that move unconstitutional, but the tactic tells you everything. Adopt it so voters never get to, then hollow it out later. And method 6, the bluntest one, they repeal it. South Dakota, 2016, voters created a state ethics commission. The legislature voided it in the next year. Missouri, 2024, voters passed paid sick leave and automatic minimum wage increases. Within months, the legislature repealed the sick leave and the cost of living raises. Now, before this sounds like one party's problem, it isn't. In 2018, voters in Washington, D.C. approved a higher minimum wage for tipped workers. The D.C. Council, controlled by Democrats, repealed it a few months later. Different party, same move. This isn't a left thing or a right thing, it's a power thing. And here's the part that ties it together. When legislatures get tired of undoing measures one at a time, they go after the process itself. Since 2018, at least 7 state legislatures have moved to raise the number of signatures needed just to get on the ballot. Arkansas increased the number of counties you have to collect signatures in. Some states added supermajority requirements. So a simple majority of voters isn't enough anymore. In 2023, Ohio put a measure on the ballot to raise the passage threshold to 60%, right before an abortion rights vote. Voters rejected it. That one they caught. The pattern is consistent. Don't fight the voters head on. Just make it harder for them to ever reach you again. There's one exception worth knowing, and it happens to be my old home state, Arizona, and California also. They're the only 2 states that require voter approval to substantially change a voter-passed law. Arizona calls it the Voter Protection Act, passed in 1998. It means if you vote for something in Arizona, the legislature can't just gut it. They'd have to send it back to you, which tells you this is fixable. Voters in one state got tired of watching their decisions get erased, and they built a wall around the ballot box. It can be done. In most of the country, that wall doesn't exist. So the next time you fill in a bubble for ballot measure, Medicaid, minimum wage, redistricting, whatever it is, understand that you're casting. In a lot of states, you're not casting a final vote. You're casting an opening offer. And the people on the other side of that offer are the exact people this whole process was invented to get around. You did your part. You showed up. You voted yes. Whether it survives contact within the building afterward is a different question. I'm Lil, and this is Lil Unfiltered.